Welcome to the Business Power Hour with Lisa and the Music Man. Live from Studio C at media stations in Bohemia, New York.
We're on.
And good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Business Power Hour. Our lovely co-host tonight, Lisa Rodino, is still in Italy. She is eating all kinds of pasta, original pastas and pizzas and all kinds of gourmet food and scungil and calamar and whatever it may be. So I hope she's having a good time, and she should be back with us next week. But I would like to welcome our co-host for this evening, Miss Terry Thompson. Terry, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Norman, and thank you.
Okay, Terry, you are from Arkansas, right?
I am currently living in Central Arkansas, yes.
So how the heck did I get a hold of you?
Networking, business networking.
Oh, is that how it is? The NRG group?
The NRG group.
Whoa,
it's
okay.
nationwide, so it doesn't matter where you live.
Exactly. We go coast to coast. As a matter of fact, we're going to whisper. We're going to whisper now. We have the color whisperer. Her name is Jeanette Jasworth, and she is the color whisperer. All right. Hello, Jeanette. Hello and welcome. Welcome from California, L.A., California, right?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Terry, say hello to Jeanette.
Jeanette, it's so nice to meet you. Hello.
Jeanette, say hello to Terry. Okay, great. Thank you all for coming this evening. We'll see you all next week. Yeah. Okay, now, Jeanette, we're going to start with you, and we're going to end with you, too. You have a very, very interesting business. I've never met anyone who does what it is that you do. I don't know about you, Terry, but, right? Jeanette has a very unique business. Tell everybody what you do for a living, and then we're going to go into your history and bring you up to date. So go right ahead. The floor is yours.
Absolutely. So basically, it's interior design, but it's interior design that goes much deeper because there's all kinds of things in your house that can either be draining your energy or improving it. And it can be your office, whatever your environment is. I want to create an environment that feeds your soul and that makes you feel more powerful, allows you to relax more, and to just embrace life every day.
Is that like
That's what I do.
Is that like the Asian shui? Is that how you pronounce it?
Okay, so what I do has to do with energy. I've taken some lessons on feng shui.
There you go, feng shui. I had that for dinner the other night. I was in an Asian restaurant, Chinese restaurant. I had feng shui. It was very good.
So I know a little feng shui, but it's all really more about the house has an energy, but the client has an energy as well. And so what I do, there's 4 parts to it. There's shapes all have an energy, colors have an energy, how much texture somebody needs. All of this is related to what is going to make them feel comfortable in their home. So for instance, you can see I've got a lot of texture in my hair, and even in my face, I got freckles. I don't know if you can see them, but I got lots of freckles and stuff. So I need to wear texture a lot. Now, Terry, you have less than I do. So texture is not as big a deal for you. You need smaller texture. So some of it is physical, but it also has to do with who are you? So some people are the leader. They're the ones forging ahead, right? Other people are the cheerleader. They walk in a room and they bring sunshine with them. You know, some people are more supporter types, and they're the ones who you really want to have to delegate, but they're more happy being behind the scenes.
They don't want to be in the spotlight. Do numbers figure into what you do too? Because I've also heard that people have an aura with certain numbers, and numbers mean something to them for their well-being or such. I've come across people like that. Is there such a thing?
So I also do energy healing. That aspect of it I am not familiar with, but energy is energy. So for instance, the color blue. When I say the color blue, immediately something came into your head, a color came into your head. Now, it might have been very different shades for each of you, but that color, universally, it makes us feel calm. It makes us want to trust. So that's why we wear blue business suits. That's why when you have workmen come to the house, a lot of times they wear blue because they want to establish some trust there.
You know where also, if I can interrupt you for a second, if you look at websites,
Yes.
there are two colors. There's green and there's blue.
Yes.
And that's what you're talking about in regards to the soothing
Yeah.
part of it. But let's start in the very beginning. When you were a young lady, when you were
Yes.
growing up, did you live in L.A. when you were younger?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. Subsidiary, but yeah.
Tell us what you wanted to do. It wasn't. I'm sure it wasn't this yet. What were you
No.
thinking about being? Attorney, doctor, lawyer, seamstress? I don't know. What were you thinking of?
I always knew I wanted to have my own business. So that was it. When I was in high school, I thought I wanted to have a restaurant. But I do remember thinking that this is kind of the kids' version of I didn't know I could be this when I grew up. But I wanted to have several houses, each one being a different style, and I could just go pick which one I wanted to live in, which is essentially what I get to do. Although I don't get to live in all the houses, but I get to create these houses all the time. And so each one is very different. And most of the time, I'm not creating a house that I would live in because it's not about what my style is. A lot of people will choose a designer because, well, oh, I like her style. Well, my style is really your style. I help to bring out my client's style. So, yes, there's some of me in it, but I'm kind of like the surrogate. So I take the house's energy, I take the client's energy and what they want to create. And then I take my skills to put it all together and create this wonderful environment.
But you're using a word create, and you're using
Yes.
about your client. Now, I have used decorators before. You sit down, you talk to a decorator. What style of furniture do you like? You tell them what kind. What are your favorite colors? And you tell them what kind, and they want to rearrange and change whatever it is that you're thinking about, because they
Right.
want to come in with their concepts and their ideas. And
Yeah.
as a person who, myself, having a thing for colors and a little bit of design stages, for concerts and so on. I not resent it, but I want what makes me feel good, which is what you're talking about. How do you
Absolutely.
handle those people when you want one thing and they think that they want something else? How do you convince them to go your way and tell them, well, you don't say, well, I see you in green. I see this green wall, and a blue couch over here. How does that all work?
So I work a little differently than most because a lot of people will give you the worksheet. What style do you think you are? Most people don't know.
Exactly.
Most people don't know farmhouse chic from gothic. They don't. They really don't. And they're very different styles if you don't know. So most people don't have a clue what their style is. Secondly, oh, well, what colors do you like? Okay, well, I don't ask my clients what style furniture they like. I don't ask my clients what color they like because I go in, the first thing I do is I have my clients show me their home. And during that first 10 minutes, whatever it is, the house is talking to me. They're usually telling me stuff. Oh, I got this from Great Aunt Sue. Well, we love it, but we don't really know what to do with it.
Right.
Or, oh my gosh, we have to keep this. I mean, you kind of get a little flavor for what they're looking for from the house. Then I'm looking at, does the house reflect their energy? What's in line with their energy? What's not? So there's 4 personality types that I'm looking for, and most of us actually have 2. We have a yin and a yang. We have an under and over. So I'm looking first of all to see what personality type the house is. I'm also looking to see what personality type my client is. And if there's more than one, then I'm looking to see what both of them are and where do they overlap. So me saying, well, what color do you like? Some people will come out in that 10 minutes. Like I had a client years ago. She says, I want a lilac bedroom. And with such conviction, like, okay, we're going to give you a lilac bedroom.
Hold on one second. Terry, look, this is what I'm going to say. Terry and I, we're hooked up. We're married. We live in the same house. You come over to the house. Terry says, I want that lilac bedroom. I said, no. I want like a dove gray. I want it nice. And how do you handle me and Terry before we go into a divorce?
Well, first of all, when I'm dealing with couples, if one of them doesn't like it, it's just next. Okay.
Well, they both have to like it. So how do you get them to get on the same page? Because that's key.
It's really very easy. So it's about finding fabric. That's an easy way to start. Is if that were the case, you want gray, she wants lilac, I would go out looking for some fabrics that are going to unite it so that we've got some purple, we've got the lilac, and we've got the gray. And then there's a little something for each one of you. Whenever I'm designing for a couple, you guys have different textures. You need more texture than Terry does. So I would be looking at, where do you guys overlap? You need more texture. She needs something more furniture. Who's in the room the most? Now in the bedroom, obviously you're both in there. So it has to be
right. We're right.
Yeah, right.
If we don't have a fight, we're in there.
A lot of people don't. It's kind of wild. But anyway, so we want this to be a haven for you. We want this to be a place where you can relax. We want this to be a place for romance. We want this to be all these wonderful things so you can sleep well. So I want to have a little bit for each person. So for Terry, she's going to need some round stuff. We're going to have maybe a round side table. I need to have a little bit more square items. So how do we fix that? Well, maybe we have some round legs underneath our side table. Instead of it being square legs and a square top, we have round legs and a square top. So there's a little bit for each one of you. Maybe we add more texture for you, but it's more in her colors. So it's all about just finding out where you guys meet. And because something attracted you to each other in the first place, I just have to find out what that is and bring that out.
I'm real curious, Jeanette. How is it that you can determine somebody's colors? By their personality colors. That to me is such a foreign concept. I know what colors I like. I don't know why I like them, but I know what colors I like. So how do you determine that?
This is the gist. This is what her business is. Now you hit it. This is what she's going to jump into. Perfect, Terry. That was ideal.
So this is actually part of a wardrobing technique that I learned years ago. And it has to do with the colors, the textures, the styles that reflect your personality. So some of it's physical. So some of these things I can look at and go, okay, this is what's going on. But it's also, how do you approach the world? It's how do you deal with problems? It's who are you in the world? What is your gift to the world? So Terry, you're a cheerleader. So, right? See how bright you are? Look at got all this white around you. So cheerleaders actually like white. I as the color whisperer, I'm not a big fan of white just because there's so many colors out there. But for cheerleaders, you need some white. You need bright colors. Okay? Now, if I put that white shirt on me, you'd be like, oh my God, it just doesn't work, right? It just doesn't work at all. I need more autumn colors. So I need that richness. I need that depth. I need that motion. I need the texture of what's going on around me. So for you, I want to have something. I want to have some furniture that's very light and airy. I don't want anything heavy because your gift on this planet is to create merriment, to create joy, and to create light everywhere you go.
And nutrition.
Nutrition. Yeah, see, you're making people weigh less. I love it.
No, that's her business. It's all about nutrition. She'll get to tell everybody about it in a little while. But let me just bring you back a little bit. You went to college for this, right? Tell us your
Uh,
history about college, and 'cause that'll really drive people nuts. Okay, tell them.
So my first degree is in literature because I love sociology, psychology, and history, but I didn't have to do all the icky, boring parts of like numbers and studies and stuff like that. So I love finding out what makes people tick. And I went into publishing for 3 years. There were 8 babies born in my department, and I didn't have any, so I got to see what everybody did. And I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. So while I was typing addresses all day, I was like, I need to do something else. My brain's just like calcifying and it doesn't feel good. So I found a class in interior design, and that was it. Hook, line, sinker. I fell head over heels in love. That was it. I went and got my degree from the Fashion Institute. I went back for my AA at the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising. And that's really where the education began because I learned a lot about color psychology there, which is so important. People don't realize they have this magnificent tool right at their fingertips, but they don't know how to use it. And from that, I learned the wardrobing technique. And then on top of that, I've been learning. So when I was 26, I had asthma really bad. And the doctors put me on this medicine, made me want to go run a marathon. I could barely make it to the bathroom. How am I going to run a marathon? You know? And like all these things. And I just like, there's got to be a better way. I didn't know what it was. This is pre-internet, was big. I didn't know. So I was given the gift of this man who was able to cure my asthma with an energy healing. And what happened was when I was a year old, my father died. And a year old, you can't process all that. And so that grief got stuck in my body. And each part of each organ holds different emotions. So the emotion for lungs is grief. So if you think about it, when you're crying, when you're upset, you're like, you can't breathe, right? So I had 25 years of grief stuck in my body that was creating asthma, and he was able to release it. So 3 days later, all of a sudden, I start sobbing. I've never sobbed in my life. And I was like, oh, this is big. So I go to the bathroom and I got a towel because this was not a job for Kleenex. And this voice in my head goes, get the green towel, get the green towel. Okay, I'll get the green towel. I got the green towel. I sobbed for the next 3 hours. No, it wasn't. It was me. It's like your intuition. It wasn't that. No, it was. But it was myself. But anyway, so I grabbed the green towel. I sobbed for 3 hours, which was joyful in itself because I was getting all this stuff out. When I got all done, I was looking at the green towel and I went, oh, I just learned in color psychology, green helps you deal with emotions. And I was like, no wonder I needed the green towel. In the moment, I just heard green towel. Okay. And so that's really where this all began for me, was I saw how closely these were connected on a very deep level for me. And then I started paying attention to restaurants I was in and other buildings I was in. How does this room make me feel? And it really just escalated from there. And then the real education has been since then with my clients. I'm constantly doing research on color and learning different things about it. And the healing stuff is a really interesting aspect because it's not something people really think about, how color can help them heal. There's color psychology is a real science. There is something very real called color therapy. It's a little bit woo, but it's not way out there woo. Chiropractors use it. There's a lot of real science behind it. But when you add in that healing component of how does this really work energetically with us, it makes such a difference.
All right, so let's go back now to Terry's white blouse.
Yes.
Okay, so now we've decided that she's outgoing and personable and she's a cheerleader. Now what do you see?
Now, what do I see?
Yeah.
So rephrase your question.
Because
What are you asking?
when we deferred and we went to the beginning of like growing up and we talked about your college, prior to that, you were talking about Terry, what you saw in her clothes that she wore, that she's
Yes.
a leader and a cheerleader.
What I'm looking at her is her clothes are in alignment with who she is. That's what I'm looking at, first of all.
Okay.
So when I'm looking at that, okay, yes, this fits who she is, this fits who she's being. And I'm looking at, does the energy of her clothing match the energy of who she is? So, we talk about the red carpet. People get excited over the award ceremonies and this dress stole the show. And a lot of times the dresses they pick, maybe they're artistic dresses, but they really look like crap, right? You walk down the aisle and it's like, if all you see on the person is the dress and you can't see
No,
the
I'm
person.
looking at the skin that's in the dress. So,
Yes.
and Dylan over here is laughing his head off over here. Yeah.
Yes. But when you're looking at somebody and if all you see is what they're wearing, that's not really their outfit. You should see them shine. So listen when people give you compliments. Do they say, I like that dress on you? Or I like that shirt on you? Or are they saying, I like that shirt? Because if they're saying, I like it, that means they like it for them. We may take that as a compliment. But a lot of times we end up doing stuff that people like. One of the things that drives me nuts on Facebook. Oh, what color should I paint my door? Or what color should I paint my room? And you get 50, 100 different things. And, I just responded to one the other day. Gray house, it's got gray stone on it. It's got blue chairs on the front. And it's got, there was something yellow somewhere else. Maybe some yellow flowers by the door. I forget. And someone goes, oh, you should paint the door red. Okay. There's no reason bright red. I'm like, there's no reason for them to even think that because they have a bright red door. So that's, I like blue. You should paint your door blue. They're not making any kind of assessment as far as what does this person's house look like? What does this person want their house to bring in? The door is how you welcome people into your world. It's making a statement as far as what you're going to find when you go in there. Okay, cool. But it's not about what somebody else likes. And it's about what is right for you.
How many times do people do things though, taking somebody else's supposed opinion in mind, and they do it because they want people to like them or like the house, or they do that a lot.
Or they're following a trend. That's and I was guilty of that myself in a couple of my first homes. Was I decorated according to a trend, and now hearing what you're saying, it makes sense why I was never thrilled with the houses, and now I love my house, but I love the colors I've used.
Here in the East Coast, I'm not speaking about Arkansas or California, but one of the most, if not the most popular color now for your home is a light gray.
Oh,
and
okay.
That's how it is. Then they'll put the red door, or they'll put a black door or a white door, and they'll put gray stone.
I know. So gray's been popular for a long time, and I'll tell you why it got popular too. So before gray really came in, we had that brown and blue phase. That was a reaction to 9/11 because we wanted to feel close to the ground. We wanted to feel safe. We wanted to be able to trust again. We needed that blue. Okay. So when 2008 hit, if you heard it once, you heard it 1,000 times. We felt like the ground got pulled out from underneath of us. Well, if you look at the Earth's core, what's underneath ground? It's rock. It's granite. Every single client I've had that wanted gray, they said, I want gray. It makes me feel so safe. So that is why gray became so popular. Now, just like, cheerleaders need white, there are some people that gray is a good color for them.
Yeah, but
Nowhere near as
cheerleaders have purple and orange and lime green and red.
too.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what they
got
wear.
other colors too.
Right.
So, but the amount of people that went gray because it was trendy, it was popular, it was all they could find. They didn't want to make a decision. Well, this is what the guy said was good. Okay. There's a lot of people living in gray houses that is pulling down their energy because they followed a trend.
How
So
do they know that they don't have energy because of their house?
See, that's the hard part is they don't know that's why. Now, some people do. I've had many calls from people like, oh, I just never go in this room and I don't know why. So they call me and like, hey, we just don't like this room. So if there's a room you're avoiding, if you're avoiding your home altogether, it may be the colors, it may be the furniture. But a lot of people don't realize that their house is such an important part of their energy and affecting their energy. They're like, oh, it's just this box I live in. No, it's not. This is a part of you. Your house protects you. It protects you from the elements, protects you from intruders. It protects you from animals. It protects you from all kinds of stuff. Your home is part of this. That's why when you go looking for a house or an apartment, whatever it is, if you ask realtors, most people know within the first few seconds when they walk in the house because there is actually an energy.
I would recognize it from the outside. I mean, if I like the way it looks on the outside, I think I'm going to be happy on the inside.
Okay. But when you walk in the house, there's so many people that they walk in the house, they immediately go, this is my house.
Okay.
Like,
I
it
can deal with
feels
that.
right. Now may not know that, but it feels right. So they go, yes, this is it. And they make a decision. So it's the same way with your house. If it's not feeling right, it's actually going to pull your energy down.
Okay. I guess I can live with that. Terry, what do you think?
You know what, that makes sense to me. I'm thinking about when I purchased this home and I first walked in, and there wasn't a lot of color, and the living room was neutral colors, and the curtains were neutral. And the first thing I did was I changed out and put this pop of red everywhere. You go through my living room, family room, dining room area, there's just pops of red here, everywhere, everywhere. And I love I walk in now and I feel energy.
Yep.
I want to be in there. I can just stand and look at the room and it puts a smile on my face.
That's what it's to do.
I didn't understand why. Now I'm understanding why. Sounds to me, Jeanette, like you're doing interior design with a purpose. There's really a purpose behind it, not just designing rooms, but you've got a purpose behind it.
I mean, many designers can make it aesthetically pleasing. That's not, and a lot of people can make it aesthetically pleasing. It's not just about making it aesthetically pleasing. It's about making it aligned with you. And then, like you said, you should feel happy when you go in the room. One of my clients says she feels hugged every time she walks in the door. That's what's key to every single one of my designs. It doesn't matter what style I do, whether I'm dealing with traditional or modern, if I'm doing purple, pink, green, yellow, orange, it doesn't matter. White. That is the key signature for me, is that people feel hugged every time they walk.
Well, I'm going to tell you what's pleasing for me. Taking a 2-minute break so we can do our commercial so we can pay for this show for next week. So that would be very pleasing to me. So we're going to take a short break, but before we do, I want everybody to get your phone number. Give everybody your number and tell them how to get in touch with you.
Absolutely. So my website is thecolorwhisperer.com, and my phone number is 626-485-6354. Again, that's 626-485-6354. And text is okay if you like text. And if you want to do email, it's design@thecolorwhisperer.com. There's 2 ERs. Thank you.
Whisperer.
Whisperer. Yes.
Whisperer. Okay, so we're going to take a short break now, and then we're going to come back. And when we come back, I have a lot of questions for Jeanette, but I want everyone to find out a little bit about Terry, and Terry's going to give us an abridged version when we come back of what her business is. And then we're going to see if you still think the white is Terry's color. We'll see. Hit it, Nolan. Go, babe. Hi, everybody. My name is Norman Wasserman, and next to me is Lisa Rodino. Lisa and I host a TV podcast show called The Business Power Hour with Lisa and the Music Man.
So what does the Business Power Hour do? We are here to talk about you and your business. We will put you on air for 1 hour to highlight your business in front of thousands of viewers worldwide, helping you generate more leads to grow your business.
And we do this every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. right here. What are you doing?
I'm keeping you on point. My name is Lisa Rodino. I am a commercial loan advisor and broker. Have you been finding that your business's cash flow is not where you need it to be? Have you found yourself taking from your personal accounts to meet your business's obligations? Have you found that those quick solutions of quick money are starting to get awfully expensive? My job is to find the right funding products for my clients so they can get back to working in their business and give me the task of finding the best options for their situation. Give us a call today to learn more. 516-268-0350.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Friend Entertainment USA. My name is Norman Wasserman. I am also known as the Music Man. Let me just tell you a little bit about Friend Entertainment. We put on concerts for charities, and we do that everywhere from New York to Las Vegas. We do R&B, Motown, rock and roll, jazz, whatever it is that you wish. Friend Entertainment will deliver the best of the best for you and your charity. Here are some of the names of the talent that have performed with us on our stage. Stevie Wonder, Tina Turner, The Temptations, Earth, Wind and Fire, the one and only ELO, Elton John himself, Kool and the Gang, and the fabulous Donna Summer. Go to our website, friendentusa.com. That's www.friendentusa.com, or feel free to call us at 631-698-9696. 631-698-9696, and we'll see you at the next show.
We're back.
Okay, welcome back to the Business Power Hour with our guest Jeanette Chasworth, the Color Whisperer. She's the Color Whisperer. I'm whispering because she's the Color Whisperer. And then we have Jeanette. What Jeanette? I'm sorry, Terry what?
Terry Thompson.
Oh, Terry Thompson. You're the Terry Thompson, the nutritionist lady. Oh, tell us a little about what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I help people understand what food does for their body, whether it's harming them or whether it's helping them. And I help people make better choices so they can get more plant nutrition into their body. Simply put, every cell in your body depends on nutrition from fruits and vegetables. We're not getting enough of them. I help people get more, whether they want to eat them, whether they want to take the shortcut and get them encapsulated, or whether they want to grow it. I just help people get more fruits and veggies.
And how do they get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me. Best thing to do is to text 411 to me at 501-798-7051. Again, just text me 411 at 501-798-7051. That'll get you to my LinkedIn and my link tree, and that'll get you to all my social media sites, give you my phone number, give you a way to set up an appointment so we can have a one-on-one. I do free consultations.
Okay.
Let's talk about your health.
We thank you. Now, Jeanette, what do you think about what Terry just said, and what more color? Do you see any other colors for her? You see a color that she should?
I see lots of colors for her. So she gets to do bright colors. So bright yellows are good for her. Bright blues are good for her. So there's blue people and green people. She's a blue person. and you know, because that's what's in your closet. But how much blue do you have in your closet?
The name of my business is Blue Jeans and Berries, if that tells you anything.
Okay, let me ask you the same question. In my closet, what's the predominant color?
You're a brown guy. You got lots of brown. You might have some blue, but you have a lot of brown in your closet.
I got a lot of blue.
You have a lot of blue in your
A
closet?
lot of blue in my closet and a lot of color.
With a lot of color?
No, both. I have a lot of blue,
Yes.
and then I have a lot of color even without the blue.
Okay. So colors, you're probably looking more, but you're more earthy than she is. So I see more, like you've got tan on. So I see more tans. I see more greens. The thing with, you know, being in business too, as a guy, that's kind of a blue thing, you know?
But the type of business that I'm in kind of like looks for the color.
Does it?
You know,
So
'cause I create the concerts, I create the staging.
yeah, you get to do some pretty wild colors.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. If you ever go to my website and you take a look at the flyers that and the colors that I picked to go with them, you'll get what I mean. But I want to go
Yes.
back to you for a second. Why
Yes.
are you really in the profession that you're in?
Why am I in? Because I see what a huge transformation it made in my life. I love furniture. I love interior design. My mom had polio when she was little, and she constantly moved house around. It was almost like she raised me to be an interior designer. And I, I just see how much it makes a big difference in people's lives. I tend to get people who have gone through major life change. A parent has died. Maybe there's a divorce. A spouse has died. Empty nesting, and they're figuring out who do they want to be for the next part of their life. And it could even just be, you know, you've moved across country. It's a new house, but it's a new step in life. And a lot of times when we make these big changes or they happen to us, we have to figure out who we are again and what that looks like. When you become the first generation, that's a remodel, not just of how you think of yourself, of who you are being in the world. When you've become suddenly single, however that happens, you're a different person in the world. You have to become different in order to get through that. So it's scary. And a lot of times people go, oh, I don't know what my style is. And so what I do is I come in and I help them see what their style is. I'm putting their beauty on their walls and letting them see that, reflect it back at them. And they get to blossom, they get to bloom. And the house does too, because there's hidden beauty in the house that most people don't see because they're not looking at it through the eyes that I've been trained, you know, the way I've been trained to look at it.
So how do you get them to like it? If they, and obviously they don't have your training, it has to be a feeling, something that comes upon them when you show it to them. Say, yeah, I want that. That's perfect for me.
Yeah, that's right. I find something that's exactly that, perfect for them. So there's not a question of I get somebody to like it. That's never been a question. It's are you ready to embrace the change? I'll find what they like. That's not a problem. Because you saw I can assess things pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can take that assessment once I know what somebody is to think, okay, I know I would never give her a bunch of green. You know, I mean, I might have some green for her, but I would never give her a bunch of green. I would never give her a bunch of browns. I would never, like, I wouldn't go.
You can give me the green if there's presidents on it, okay?
Oh, yeah, me
Got
too.
it. But I wouldn't come to you and go, oh, let's put a black ceiling on your. No, it doesn't fit who you are. And I know black is really in right now. Oh, let's do a black ceiling. You know what? That works for some people. It's trendy right now, but it doesn't work for everybody. And so it's about finding what's right. I'm not convincing anybody into doing something that isn't in alignment with them. So there's no, I see this. I was in a house yesterday. A lot of times people ask me, what do you see in here? I'm like, I don't know yet, because the house has to speak to me. The client has to speak to me.
Hey, if my house starts talking to me, I'm getting the heck out of it.
I was doing accessories yesterday for a client, and I found these three musicians, and they were perfect for him. He had a picture that was kind of similar. They were kind of cartoonish. They were very thin and a little bit just, I don't know how to explain it, a little bit abstract. And I found these three musicians and I was like, oh, these are beautiful. So I pulled them out for him and I said, okay, what do you think? And we started decorating with them and putting them in place. And he says, yes, I love them.
Great.
Now, if you had said, Jeanette, what do you see on the mantle? I would have never said three musicians that are these little abstract things. But when I saw them, I was like, that's the perfect thing. So it's really about tuning into the spirit of the house, the spirit of my client, and finding where they mesh. And there's not a question of I have to talk them into anything. You should never be talking your client into something they don't want.
Right.
Ever. The client says, no, it's next. There's so much out there.
You know, speaking about so much out there, you must have in your profession come across some very, very interesting people and interesting situations that you got yourself involved in. They got to be some stories that you can share with everybody. You got a couple up your sleeve that you can talk about?
I do. So I'll give you one client. So this client, her husband had died a couple of years before she came to me. And her house was stuck in the 60s. He had decorated it with his ex-wife. They had been married for 10 or 15 years, but she was still living in the ex-wife's everything. And part of it was because the kids were like, they were mostly grown when she came into the picture, but they were like, oh, that's my mom's. You can't touch that. So she never touched anything. And he died, and she was like, okay, it's time for me to make this mine. I'm not going to move. I'm going to decide to stay here, but I got to get rid of all of this past. And we're looking through the house and what we decide to do. And it comes out, she's still using the ex-wife's coffee pot. And I'm like, do coffee pots even last that long? And I said, okay, first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to the store and you're going to go get a new coffee pot and plug it in. Oh, I have one in the garage. Go get it right now and plug it in. And she just needed that nudge to say, this is my house. This is really my house. The next time I went, all the metallic wallpaper had been half peeled off. It had that brown stuff underneath.
Yeah, the glue.
But she got rid of it. And it was such a huge step for her to plug in that coffee pot and say, this is my house, and I'm going to start using my things. So that was huge. And we redid her entire house. By the time we were done, she was dating, she was playing bunco, she was having people over. She went from the state of grief to this happy person. The transformation was as big in her as it was in the house.
That's great. That's a great story. You just needed to give her a little, like you said, a little push. And then she pushed all the ex-wife stuff right out the door, and the ex-husband was, that was another story for another time. Okay.
Right?
You got anything else that you can share with us?
I have another one. I had a client, so this is about 5 years after 9/11, and I go through the house, and there's a twin bed with mom and dad's room. I'm like, well, what's up with this? Kid's 9 years old. So, well, she keeps having nightmares over 9/11. Okay. I said, can I see her room? So we go in her room, and mom had done a nice job. She created a little princess room for her little princess. And it was, I can't fault it. She did a nice job. Problem is, her little princess was dyslexic. And mom had painted these white stripes on the wall about like so. And with dyslexia, they wavered like this, and they looked just like the towers did right before they fell. So 9/11 didn't end for this little girl. So I explained to mom that with dyslexia, yellow will actually help her to learn better. That's why when we went to school, all the buildings were that kind of icky shade of yellowy white. But yellow helps you to learn better. And she says, oh, we can't keep her out of the living room, and there's lots of yellow in there. So here, a can of paint solved the nightmares, got mom and dad their privacy back. The kid felt safe again. And I have to wonder, how many drugs would she have been on? How many therapists would she have seen? And really, all she needed to do was paint the walls.
And that was it?
That was it.
What does it take to be a color whisperer?
I've often been asked, can I teach this? And the answer is yes. I mean, I can teach the basics of it. And then there's the intuition part of it. So the basics of it is you got to know your color stuff. So there's color theory, color psychology, and I call it the personality of color, which is knowing which shade of color is right for you. And then there's the intuition part. And you just kind of you got to build that's practice. And it's being able to really listen to the house, all the healing work that I've learned over time. When I told you about that guy that cured my asthma in one session,
right,
I was like, I got to learn this. So I did learn some.
How did he do that in the first place? What did he do to cure you? I think we would all like to know that one, right, Terry?
Absolutely.
Really, seriously. How did you do that in a session? People have ailments and stuff. You know, this guy could be a hero.
So here's the bad thing about it. As a healer, one of the hardest things to face is that not everybody wants to be healed because they're getting something from it, right, Terry? They're getting something from eating that piece of chocolate they don't really need.
Yep.
They're getting something, whether it's solace or it's comfort. There's a reason why it's still working for them to stay unhealthy.
Right.
So what he did was he was able to unlock that grief. Basically, it was muscle testing to figure out what was going on. So by muscle testing, I can test yes or no, ask the body questions. If it goes down, no, yes is strong. To ask the body questions as far as, okay, where did this trauma start? What's the organ related to it? What are the exact words related to it? What do I need to release? And then with all kinds of healing practices, there's some different kinds of release, but that's what he did, was we were able to release that grief. And 3 days later, I'm sobbing. So that's pretty much what it comes down to. It's a very simple process. Part of doing the healing too is people have to be willing to let it go. And at that point, I was definitely willing to let it go.
And it worked.
It worked. I have not had an asthma attack since.
God bless. That's wonderful.
Or that's almost 30 years.
That is a long time. Where do you
curious.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Terry.
No, I was just curious, Jeanette. When you walk into somebody's house, can you immediately tell what kind of energy is in the house, and how do you go about changing that? I know how to change people's energy in their body physically, but how do you do it in somebody's home?
Part of it is me being in it, because the way I listen to the house is the same way that a healer listens to a body. So when I walk into a house, yes, immediately I'm sensing what are the shapes around me, what are the colors around me. I'm sensing, how does the house feel? I had a client about a year ago, and she moved into a house, and somebody had died in the house, and the house had been empty for a year, but I could still feel this one room. It was the energy was bad. And I knew that it wasn't very bad. Just me being in it would transmute it and it would be okay because I'm still doing the healing. What I learned right before COVID, I learned how to do home energy clearings, and I can do them remotely. I can do the design remotely.
How do you do that?
Well, hang on a second.
Okay.
So I found I can do the home energy clearings, and I was like, I had a client and she wanted me to pick out paint colors, and I could feel over the phone. I'm like, you need to have your home cleared. She goes, oh, the feng shui person did that already. And I said, well, you still need some more. And when I got there, she had done a lot of redoing the house. The houses had a fire, and it didn't feel the way my houses do. And I thought, well, is it just because she didn't do what I probably would have picked out for her? Or is it because there's something going on with the house? Well, it turns out that while the house had been abandoned for a while, there was homeless people in there. There was satanic stuff on the walls. They'd painted it, everything, but the energy of it was still icky and it was still there. And I cleared it all out. And her little girl says, Mom, if I put my ear up to the wall, I can hear the house singing. And that's how my houses feel when I'm done. So I realized that when I've been in homes long term, when I'm doing the whole house, that's happening. But I didn't realize I was doing it until I learned how to do it by itself. So there is an element of me just being in the house is going to transmute some of that by putting in the right colors, by putting in the right furniture, the things that are in alignment with the energy of the house too, because the house has a personality. So if, let's say you've got a Tudor house, this old English house, and you're like, I'm going to paint it purple, bright purple. Okay. It's incongruous. Okay. The color and the building are incongruous with each other.
Right.
So that's going to create bad energy. So by having things that fit the house and the person, it's going to create smooth energy, and it's going to, any stuck energy is going to go. So part of it is by doing the space planning, doing the painting, having the right things there. And it's also me being the healer coming in saying, hey, this is not, we're not going to take this. Yeah.
Are you
and
writing?
If you need to do it on purpose, I can.
Are you writing a book? You should write a book. Are you?
I do have a book.
Really?
I have a book. Yes. It's called What's Color Got to Do with It?
Okay. Sounds like something Tina Turner would be singing.
Well, I have to admit, she did inspire the title.
Tell us about the book.
What can I say? The book talks a lot about what we've been talking about and how color affects every aspect of our lives. And how do you use it to create the feeling that you want? And this is not a long book. I've made it really simple. If you're looking at a remodel, you can look it up by chapter. Hey, I think I want to paint my house blue. Okay, cool. You look up blue. What does that mean? You can look up the colors by themselves. It's really a very succinct book as far as getting you in touch with how much color can impact what's going on around you.
Is it out? Can people buy it?
Absolutely. It's on Amazon. It's been an Amazon bestseller. It's on Kindle. You betcha.
What's it, like $9.99 or something like that? What are the prices on these things? I don't know.
Oh, I know it's not very much on Kindle. They've changed the price on Amazon several times. So I think it's around $35.
That's nice.
It is a four full color book. So it's not black and white. You get all the pictures to help show you what's going on.
Do people in NRG know that you have a book?
I don't know.
Do you ever tell them?
Maybe not.
Okay, so we're going to whip out a color and we're going to sell your book.
There we go.
Oh,
Yeah, do I have a copy copy? I have a copy right here.
Show us.
Will it work?
There you go. Oh, yeah, I see the color.
There you
There we
go.
go.
That's a pretty big book.
I like that.
No, it's just the way the camera is. It's about half a sheet of paper.
Very,
It's
very nice.
5.5 by 8.
How long has it been out now?
14 years.
Oh.
That's why I forget sometimes, so I don't always advertise it.
If people want to get a hold, not get a hold of you, where do you do your work? Can you operate throughout the United States or just in California or what?
No, I can work virtually. I can work through snail mail by sending samples. I do go into people's homes. I will travel if people, if that's what people want. But I love being able to transform people's homes. And I am actually working on a course that will be out in the next month on where I can really work with people virtually. So you'll get a lot of this knowledge and through some videos, and then you also get to work with me one-on-one as well.
And if people want to get in touch with you to find out about your course and to find out about what you're all about, how do they do that?
So the best way is to call me or text me, 626-485-6354. Again, that's 626-485-6354. My email is design@thecolorwhisperer.com. And everything's very easy to find on my website, design@thecolorwhisperer.com. There's nowhere that, I'm sorry, it's not design, it's thecolorwhisperer.com. There's no, you have to hunt to find the phone number. I want people to find it easy to get hold of me. And so it's right there on every page.
And you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's the end of the show time. That's what it is.
Oh,
What
well,
color? What color is that? Sparkles and fireworks and. All right, Terry, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you too.
Best way to get a hold of me is to give me a text or drop 411 to me at area code 501-798-7051. 411, just text that to me and you can get access to my website, my email, my calendar, my life.
And as the show was going on, I received a text message from someone who wanted to know how to get in touch with the Business Power Hour to be on the show. So for that person, whoever that person happens to be, you're just going to call me, the Music Man, at 631-698-9696. That's 631-698-9696. And if you want to email me, it's norman@friendusa.com. We are on 7 platforms. We can help you, and we look forward to having you on the show at some time. Jeanette, Terry, thank you so much, ladies. You were really, really terrific. This was a fun show.
It was.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
This was a fun show. I hope you get a good response from it, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll look forward to having you back on again. Just to let everybody know, we're going to be on Thursday this week because we don't have any more Tuesday dates. We're sold out for Tuesdays. So I just want to let everybody know that one of our charities, Disability Access, is going to be on next week. They've been with us, hooked up with us for a number of years, and they are absolutely doing phenomenal. And I think by the title, you can find out what they're all about. If you have a disability, she can tell you how to handle and go to different places so you can enjoy your life. You can eat well. You can go to museums. She has it all down. She has a beautiful website. So tune in this Thursday night, 7 o'clock, and tune in and you'll get to meet Roberta. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you again next Thursday. This is Tuesday, right? All right, time to go home.
The Business Power Hour with Lisa and the Music Man is sponsored by Media Stations. Create your own media and have your own station. To get started with your own content, call or text 516-448-2066. That's Media Stations in Bohemia,